Yeah, I remember being very frustrated with Red Dead Offline.
Yes.
It's just hard to play.
The classic Red Dead Online story was, Jason, my brother-in-law, he was playing with us. He was telling me like how he tried to get onto his horse, but he hit the wrong button and he punched his horse instead, and his horse kicked him. So like the game, they built enough into the game so that like the horse would realistically respond to stimuli, but they didn't build enough into like the basic UI of the game that you could like avoid punching your horse by accident. That's like in a nutshell exactly what Red Dead Online is.
Happy Thursday.
Yes, happy Thursday, which is almost
Yeah.
Friday. This was a short week for me. I had Monday off, and yet I'm still like very much looking forward to Friday. I'm
Let's
gonna
say it wasn't even short week because I took Tuesday off as well, and I'm really ready for the weekend.
yes, I'm gonna spoil myself tomorrow morning and get a cup of coffee.
Do you not go out for coffee very often anymore?
I am trying to restrain myself. Coffee destroys me. Like I feel like I got like by the time by the time I get to the end of the workday, I feel like I've been run over by a truck. Um,
That's fair.
and I think this is just from years and years of excess. I remember at Chain, I would like Chain when we were working together. It was hilarious. Like it's just like classic, Silicon Valley startup thing where we would just like we'd have coffee implements in the office. We had a Chemex, right? I never even made coffee with the Chemex, but like um
This was all Ryan's fault.
it was all right. It was definitely Ryan's fault. Um but we would still like walk to Ritual Coffee. It was like, you know what? No. We're actually gonna go to either Ritual or Blue Bottle right now.
Oh
Even though
my God. Yeah, I loved how fancy all our stuff was. And we're like, no, 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 we gotta go out for coffee.
yeah. So I blew out my liver, so to speak. So
Fair enough.
now, or maybe I was always like suffering the physical consequences, but I was just into. But now I'm like
Every,
not drinking coffee. I exercise 20 minutes every morning.
ooh, that's nice. What is your exercise like program du jour or
I'm
of
almost
choice?
embarrassed to say,
Nah,
but
hit me. Come on.
I do the custom mode of Ring Fit Adventure on the
Yeah,
Switch.
I love it.
Have you played that?
I have. It's delightfully weird. I kind of wish it didn't have that smoothie mechanic.
Oh yeah,
The smoothies just feel like too much.
the whole role playing side of it, I got kind of tired of over time. It wasn't exactly an engaging storyline, although I appreciate the effort they put in. I also think that running is silly.
Hmm.
So I just switched to the actually the main thing that made me quit the story mode was that the wrong exercises were given like the highest damage ratings. Like for some reason they like correlated damage rating individual exercise. And I was like, I don't want to get a workout right now. I'm not just trying to min max my character. So I just went to the custom mode. You can design like a set,
Oh, that's great.
and they are unconventional exercises. You have like what they call a Pilates ring. I can't tell if they made that word up.
Is that a real thing?
Um,
Pilates ring. Oh, that's a real thing. It looks exactly like a ring
oh,
fit.
dang. Well, Ring Fit Adventure showed us.
So Ring Fit Adventure is sneakily just a lot of Pilates, I guess.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, what I like about it is the structure of it. It's like having someone telling you what to do, and I'm never gonna cheat a set because you literally can't. It's just like you can't tell it to go faster, or you can't tell it to skip the last 5 reps or whatever.
I like that.
Um, and so I have 3 different sets that I cycle through every single day. I don't
Hmm.
do all, I do one of the sets, which is about, I think if you count all the wait time and the stretching and all that, I think it comes out to about like 25-30 minutes. So it's like kind of how much time you'd spend at
Yeah.
the gym if you weren't really going for it. You're just trying to maintain your health. I love that I can do it on a yoga mat right in front of my TV. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's structure, there's variety, and that's it. And that's what I've been doing for the last 6 months or so.
I like that. Does it get harder? Can you like scale up? There's like no tension beyond the ring. So how do you?
Yeah, so you just have to increase the reps basically.
Okay, just rep base. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
bodyweight stuff though. That's cool.
yeah, it is just bodyweight stuff. Chair pose continues to be difficult. Like
It's because it's bullshit.
yeah,
It's the
it's
worst
not
pose
fun.
in the world.
Yeah. But I think it's just good to move. I'm not even trying to like. I don't have any fitness goals except to just be willing to move for 25
Yeah,
minutes a
totally.
day. You know what I mean?
I've been adding the 7 minute workout to my lunch break to start it off.
Yeah.
And it's great because it's like enough of a thing to sweat and feel like you've moved. And I probably will never get a six pack from it, but like also it's nice to move.
Yeah, I did the 7 minute when I was on sabbatical, when I was living in London for a winter, and that was good. Like it can kick your ass depending. It's kind of like depending on how intensively you want to do it. Like the 7 minutes can be enough.
Yeah, I like that it's got like I can modify down or like modify way up if I need it. So
Do you use an app?
I actually found like the New York Times has a series of
Oh
videos.
yeah, yeah, totally. Oh, so you
Because like
just
there's
flip the
two,
video on then?
I just put the video on because there are way too many 7 minute apps and they're all like bullshit adware.
Yeah, it's true.
I've been trying the Apple ones too, and they're pretty cool, but I
Oh,
need like a set of weights.
oh, yeah. Who's got the space? We've got PlayStation 4s, PlayStation 5s, maybe even PlayStation 3s. You got to play that old school. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. I really want to finish the Metal Gear series at some point though, so I will need one.
Oh. Oh, yeah. I have a copy of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Hmm.
Uh, Widely acclaimed to be one of the greatest games of the PS4 generation. And I couldn't get through the first level.
Yep, same.
The one where you sneak around a base?
Isn't that every level?
I guess that is a no. I think it gets weird and comic booky, right? You like fight like these weird superheroes and stuff in Metal Gear.
Oh, that's yeah. But the one where you is it like at night and it's like a prisoner camp and it's raining and you're like sneaking in trying to find your
You
friends.
carry a lot of guys to the coastline, and you go down into like just those games. Like I never quite get the intuition of like when people can see me and hear me.
Yeah. And I'm about to try Hitman again, so we'll see if I can figure it out this time.
Hitman 3 is supposed to be incredible. Like
So
people are
like,
flipping out
but
about it.
it's the same game as Hitman 1 and 2, both of
Yeah,
which I have for free on PlayStation.
nice. Yeah, I think I
So
have Hitman 1 for free. I got it for
you
free.
have at least that for free, I
Yeah,
bet. Yeah. So I reinstalled that. I'm just like, I'll boot this one up instead.
yeah. But I don't know. Hitman 1 struck me as very it struck me as like something that was going to do bullshit stuff to me. Like emergent behavior in a bad way. Like I'll accidentally
Mm-hmm.
bump a character the wrong way and it'll blow my cover or something like that.
Yeah, it has a similar feel to the Metal Gear to me, where I'm just like, I don't know if this is gonna like, am I invisible? Am I properly disguised, or are you gonna recognize that I'm not the right mechanic? Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I do really want to enjoy those kinds of things.
Yeah.
They seem fun.
Uh
Anyway.
I was thinking a little bit long term.
Hmm.
Uh I think we had said like by our 1 year anniversary, 1 year anniversary. Wouldn't it be cool if we had the visual style roughly down, right?
That'd be really cool.
Seems ambitious, but it's like
Hmm.
early April, right? That's what we're shooting for.
Hmm.
What I think would be really cool is if that was a milestone, but then let's say end of year.
5 minutes later.
It never hit
I
stop, but it
think we're
also knows that
back.
our internet went off.
I think
Great.
we're back. So I was talking about
The
like
last thing I heard you say was April, but then for the end of the year, and then you stopped.
yes. Are you familiar with the term vertical slice?
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. That's like it's what most gameplay demos are, right? Where it's like you try to get like one of each mechanic and just like have a
Exactly.
5 or 10 minutes something you can play through.
If the end product was a cake of content and the
Hmm.
layers were the different things you could do, what you want is the vertical slice, which is like Yeah, have all the mechanics in place. Have the general idea of the game in. It's just like it doesn't have all of the content, right?
I love it.
I think end of the year is achievable
Absolutely.
given our current work pace, but it also depends on like how ambitious we get. It occurs to me that having a multiplayer game with both the arcade and building mechanic, and potentially stealth as well, it seems like a fine recipe for scope creep. I'm not trying to describe a problem I want to solve. I want to do all these things, but
Yeah.
like, it'll be quite interesting to try to make to sort of structure a time that way.
I think that sounds really great, and I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think maybe the path to getting there too is maybe like we're not going to be able to like get all the anti-aliasing and fun effects we want in here necessarily, but I think if we can get the style and like a pretty good shape of things,
Yeah,
I would love to like have 70% polish and a vertical slice.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I've been watching those no clip videos of the Supergiant team. I watched the Hades series, or at least as far as they've gotten.
Oh, this one? Oh wait, yeah, you mentioned this, but I haven't seen these at all.
Yeah, and then I've also watched the one on Transistor. That game looks awesome. I think I might get it.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
You might have it for free on PlayStation already.
Transistor.
I didn't pay for it.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
It was definitely PS Plus at some point.
You know, I'm not that good at paying attention to that. That's why I added the Slack reminder in our Slack team, because I just like don't pay attention to those things.
That reminds me, is there a new Epic Games yet?
It is the 21st, is it not? I set the reminder for Friday morning because I thought it was a good time to check. What I really need is a Twitter feed. I need an RSS feed, really. I need something that just like tells me when it changes so that I can go and check it out.
Like where are the free games? I need them now.
There's no such thing. I've looked. Even
That's
like
wild.
Reddit is bad for a variety of different reasons, but it also is just difficult to find anything concrete. Oh yeah, Galactic Civilizations 3. I was actually kind of looking at this and I was like, this looks cool.
It looks. I saw this and I was like, that looks extremely fun. I love Civilization kind of games. So
the 4X games, yeah.
Yeah, sold, easy peasy.
Yeah.
Bam.
Well,
all right.
We finished our work for the evening.
Every Thursday on the stream, yeah, we're done.
Oh yeah, that's the way I can remember is every Thursday on the stream. Dom will. Do you claim like literally every game, basically?
I try to.
Okay.
You never know, you might need one.
Yeah, you never know. That's how you got Remnant, and Remnant was one of my games of the year.
I got Remnant, yeah. I got Bugsnax. It's great.
But then you got Bugsnax on PS5.
It was a PS Plus one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I got it before I had a PS5. I was just like, I'm gonna grab that.
Oh.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Free shit's great and easy.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I participated in a pub quiz at the office. Thinking it would just be fun. There was a mild amount of embarrassment. I had to lip sync on Zoom to Sweet Caroline. Which
that's
whatever.
Horrifying. You had to go to pub quiz?
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like one of those Zoom game show things that have like cropped up in the last couple months. That was just like exactly the amount of time that people needed. Basically, it was like probably 4 weeks into like shelter in place on the coasts. People were like, "Wait, this could last forever. I've got a great startup idea," and then they all like simultaneously made like a game show over Zoom. And then now we are enjoying the fruits of that as kind of like corporate patrons of that sort of thing. So that happened. We got second place out of 3. That's basically just the definition of a mediocre outcome. I mean, it's always like kind of more luck than skill. Not that I needed any confirmation of one thing or another from an office pub. Anyways, the point of this is that the prizes were ridiculous. I had a choice that came down to like me either getting a new KitchenAid mixer, like a bread mixer, or AirPods Pro.
Oh shit!
Right?
Did you take the AirPods Pro?
I did actually end up taking the AirPods Pro. And I was like, I can't believe that for me responding like randomly to like basically some message in some random like general announcements channel, like, hey, do you guys want to like meet people around the company and just like, pandemic life's been hard, just have some fun, have a little happy hour activity. Came out of it with AirPods Pro. So free shit is good.
Now,
to your
free shit is
point.
good.
Yeah.
I gotta wonder, like, how is that a business? Slack must have paid a lot of money, so much that they could give away a couple of AirPod Pros, because those ain't cheap.
Yeah, I mean, the prize aspect I think was purely internally organized. I actually
Gotcha.
kind of wonder if they spent more money on prizes than they did for the actual activity. But I'm learning a lesson because when you and I worked together, I was offered these very headphones that I'm wearing right now. I mean, the same model. I believe the headphones that you're wearing right now. I was offered those, and I turned them down. I was like, I don't need it. And they were like, okay, suit yourself.
That's so
and
funny.
Then,
always.
3 or 4 years later, I found myself trying to buy it online. Yeah.
Have you had an AirPods Pro yet?
I've had AirPods.
Okay.
No post adjective.
These are much cooler.
Okay.
You're gonna love them.
They're probably just as easy to lose, which is what happened to my AirPods.
You lost them. Oh, maybe.
I lost them in the office. What kind of cretin would steal somebody else's AirPods?
Oh, I mean, I feel like this is like the future of who eats someone's lunch in the company fridge.
Oh, that's what it is. Who stole whose AirPods, right?
Yeah, but someone eats someone's lunch in the fridge, so like someone must steal AirPods.
Yeah. My AirPods had the name Some Jerk's AirPods. It was very distinctive, and I even said so in the Lost and Found channel. I was like, "This is the name of the AirPods. It's Some Jerk's."
Did you have
AirPods.
them engraved on them? Oh, just like the parent name.
It's just like the Bluetooth device name. Yeah, very distinctive. So some jerk now has them. Some other jerk.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought they were theirs because they were already some jerk, and they're like, "Oh, my AirPods. Someone found them."
You know, the mystery I would like to solve is why we have discontinuities in the wireframe.
I agree, and actually,
especially the bottom of the tank, right? You flip that tank over right now, it is naked.
There is nothing going on under the chassis here.
Oh, but we could also render the faces as well, so we're not seeing through it. That'd be another fun thing to do.
Ah, right. So to like render the triangle mesh inside of this. Right. That is great. And I was going to say, I'm curious about the tank, but I'm also curious about the turret.
Okay. Because there's tons of discontinuities in the turret, right? Or
actually, no, it's that it's like perfectly triangular. It didn't eliminate a thing.
Yes.
Yeah, except for this top-down view.
I'm very curious about that. What I'm guessing is that it didn't optimize the indices for this geometry. This
export did not do that. Yeah.
Because remember, our implementation was very quick and dirty. We're not actually comparing normals. We're not doing anything. We're just saying, let's assume that the.
So like these triangles, I love this render tool. These triangles over here, like do not share vertices in the index buffer, so our implementation just can't do anything about it. Yeah.
I would love also to fix the mouse in this tool. What we're trying to do with this tool is not complicated. In fact, in Blender, I learned the word for this type of motion. It's called orbiting, right? You sort of fly the camera. Orbit. Yeah, we want to orbit. Yeah. But we can't have nice things because I'm not very good at 3D math.
Well, right there with you. So yeah, I'm curious. I think it's cool that we actually have these two examples that do totally different things.
Yeah, they have kind of opposite effects, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the turret is easier to explain. I feel like the geometry is just not optimized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one I have more questions about. Is it really just that like we're drawing the lines, but are we maybe like once we finish parsing the vertices on say each side of the turret, like is this gap the fact that we just processed everything in this circle and in this plane and didn't draw anything between them? Like basically we've just like, we've processed what our algorithm can do, and it's just like, well, you left a face out.
Oh, so you're saying maybe we just have a bug, right? Maybe we just omitted some stuff.
Well, like, right, is there like we drew this line here, but if we excluded all the triangles that made up the bottom of the tread, is not drawing anything there correct, given that we got like this other, like the outer circle? And I think our algorithm might just do that. I don't know.
There should have been an edge. There should have been an edge connecting them at like at some point, right? Because it's solid. If we fill it in, it's actually solid, right? And yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can add to the Rendertoy a little hotkey that'll switch between the solid mesh and the wireframe, and we can kind of compare and contrast.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
So the Rendertoy uses our 3D renderer, right? It uses Render V2. That's great.
Yeah.
So I had a thought. Wherever we load Gltf, yeah. So we have a small problem here, which is that these meshes have the same name. So
yeah,
we can't, like, I can certainly replace tank in this space and get that. But if we load both, we can't do anything. So
yeah, what if the mesh one is just like hyphen lines, or sorry, if the line one is like hyphen wireframe or something like that?
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking something along those lines, where it's just like we have a convention and we can maybe like look for that as we do render v2, and if it's there, drop it on top.
Or we know outside. We whatever calls the renderer knows, like the render manager has some intelligence on which entities care about this. Like it could be a component that knows this. And then the component basically just draws the second mesh, right? It just says render the one, render the... You could even like not even obey this name scheme and just have the name of the, like the component could contain like the name of the solid mesh and the name of the wireframe mesh in it, something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a great...
What I'm saying is that we can punt, and then like the renderer itself doesn't need to be smart about it.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah. Oh, get back. Like tank entity. Is there no more tank index?
Player index.
Player.
Yeah.
Right, because what we have here is this.
Yeah. And then we could have a Boolean that's like draw wire. You know, and like the renderer, if we want to make the Rendertoy be able to draw, like, because we really have three different things that we're going to draw. One thing that we're going to draw is the solid mesh, where we're looking at right now. The other thing we would draw is the wireframe. And then the third thing we would draw is the solid mesh, but just to the Z buffer, or with a solid color. I actually haven't decided how we want to do that. How would we fill in the background? Would we just fill in like, would we just do it black if black was our background color, or would we just...
That's a really good question. Like if it's black and we have like a black terrain, that makes sense. But like if there's something behind it, can you see the thing behind it through the mesh, but not the backside? I guess not. Yeah, I guess drawing the Z buffer and fill it. Would we draw the Z buffer or draw the model and fill it and make it black? Because I feel like that's draw the model, right? If we wanted to have a color.
Yeah, if you wanted to have a color, you would just draw it. It's also the case that if we were doing the Z buffer thing, we'd have to do that all in like a single, like it would have to be like the first draw pass. So like everything that is drawn to the Z buffer would draw all together, and that would prevent anything else from drawing behind that object first, because otherwise the colors would leak through.
Right. Oh, man, the Z buffer stuff is... I can see it in the X-Wing demo. It's still hard to wrap my brain around.
Yeah. So the Z buffer is just there's actually an extended concept of the Z buffer called the Stencil Buffer, which you can use arbitrarily. In fact, they're often talked about in the same sentence. And the Stencil Buffer,
Interesting.
you can basically say like, I am going to make a stencil that has some data in it, and then before and you can like write into the Stencil Buffer however you want. But then what will happen is when you do a regular draw call, it'll check against the Stencil Buffer using some mathematical function, and it will selectively omit the draw to the color buffer based on some comparison against the Stencil Buffer. And I'm not sure 100% what the use cases are. A lot of it is just like, I want to only draw to like a portion of the screen, so I'm going to stencil that out. I guess maybe that's the idea, is like you're literally like taking like a physical stencil and only drawing inside of a particular area.
I guess that'd be handy for like, yeah, UI or very specific things.
Yeah. But for the Z buffer, just the idea is that anytime we draw geometry, we draw the colors into the frame, but then we also draw its Z value into the Z buffer. And before we do either of those things, we take that Z value and we compare the Z value that's already in the Z buffer. And this is on a pixel by pixel basis, right? And so in that regard, I think it happens before we engage the fragment shader. I think this is one of those like things in that giant territory between the vertex shader and the fragment shader. We check the depth in the Z buffer, and if there's already something in there that has a Z value that is lower than the Z value that we're about to write, then we omit the write entirely. And the reason why it's lower means that it's closer to the camera.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I'm going to do the thing you said earlier, which is, I was about to put another model name in here, but I think this is actually a better.
Can I make a quick suggestion?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a little struct right here.
That's awesome. What I was going to suggest is, like, if we want to do this in Rendertoy first, we don't have to worry about the components, but we will have to worry eventually for the entity. So
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Since we have loaded, we have it in there with dash wireframe. So yeah, so now we can actually just do Rendertoy. And let's see. I'm gonna just draw this on top, though. I know this is not going to be the correct values yet.
Yeah, we might not see anything. We'll see. Oh.
Sick.
Pretty
cool.
That
looks cool, actually. Yeah. And yeah, just looking at, yeah, I guess it's interesting. I wonder what I would have expected to show up on the bottom here. Like a lot of horizontal lines.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the bottom, like, you see how the tank treads curve? I mean, that's all, that tank tread curving, that's a quad right there. That's at least, that's probably numerous quads, modeling.
That's quite a few, yeah.
And the fact that we're not seeing that geometry is really strange, right? In fact, we can load this model up in Blender, and then there's a wireframe visualization in Blender.
Let's see what we get. That's a great idea. Import Gltf. Why'd you let me put a favorites there if you're not gonna let me click on it? Blender. I blame Big Sur. Hey, how's your computer working out though?
Pretty good. I haven't tried to do anything too ambitious yet. I am working through the donut Blender tutorial that Steve pointed out. It's actually really good. The guy's a really great teacher.
The donut tutorial is really good, isn't it? Yeah.
I wasn't actually able to get the monkey to light on fire, though. I think it's because I have my version of Blender is a little bit more advanced than the one in the tutorial. So the wireframe, yeah, there you go. Yeah. So there's like a ton of triangles there, right?
Totally. Oops. How do I get back into? That's fine. There's a ton of triangles, and I guess like it's really hard to see like individual treads, but I guess I feel like we actually effectively did remove. I guess it's like our wireframing made a choice about which lines to keep and which lines to not keep. But I guess, yeah, I would expect to see a horizontal line.
The other thing that
On
could
the
be
treads.
happening is that the vertex normal data is wrong in the model.
Ah,
And so faces that aren't coplanar, their common edges are still getting eliminated because they're reusing the same vertex index. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So they're basically deliberately using the incorrect normal for some things, which is possible. I wish there was a way we could know, right? Like I actually thought one cool thing to add to Rendertoy, which sounds like a tough problem, would be to like highlight a piece of the mesh that maybe the mouse cursor is hovering over and show you the properties of the triangle that you're hovering over, right?
Oh wow, yeah, no challenge there. That would be very hard. Dang.
Yeah.
But really cool.
It would be cool. You'd have to basically, I think that there are ways of doing like, there's like mesh collision algorithms. It's like a sub school of collision detection, and I think that's basically what you'd have to do.
Yeah, I actually find this really interesting. Where like this one hatch is good and this one is not, in a weird way.
That is really interesting. But the vertex normals look like they're set correctly, don't they? The lighting doesn't look buggy, right?
No, it looks like it's shaded the same way. Yeah. Or like, yeah, this line never came through. And yeah, here's your pixel that I think one pixel in here is drawing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's one lowering. Interesting. Dude, I still can't believe you just freehanded this like 90% working line shader or line algorithm.
Well, I think we did it together, right? We
did, but like we only ran it once.
Yeah.
Very impressive. So let's see. So you were saying that basically we are going to be changing our render modes in here.
Yeah, so it depends on what our goal is right now. We could have a button that either draws. Maybe we can toggle things on and off, right?
Mm-hmm. Do we have React in here?
No. There's no React. Yeah.
That's great. Not a problem.
Wait, there should be React. I think there is React. Oh, no, wait, there isn't React.
Could be if you want
it. Yeah, there definitely could be.
But you're thinking wireframe.
Yeah.
Wireframe button and a model or a solid maybe.
Yeah, solid. And then also like, what do we call the? It's like the unlit, whatever it is that like. What if we want to do the actual eventual look of the game? We still need to draw the faces, but we'd either be drawing purely the Z buffer or we'd be drawing all black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like game mode.
Yes, and maybe these three things can be. It's more of a radio than it is.
I was just thinking that these are totally radios, aren't they?
Right.
Boy, you think as a web engineer I would actually know how to do this one, but I just write radio buttons so infrequently.
Yeah, are they not options?
It's an input. See?
Yeah.
Also, it's probably a self-closing input with a label tag. Great. I am a professional engineer who someone pays money for this.
When I was doing Hugo, I discovered a whole new menagerie of HTML elements that I did not know existed before.
Oh yeah?
There's the header element, the footer element, the section element, the article element.
Yep.
What else is there? There's the main element.
There's a nav
There's the
element.
nav element. And they all kind of seem like bullshit to me, but maybe they're good. Like, I'm not sure how much information is lost if they're just all divs, right?
So honestly, like I think nothing. It's basically it's like it's what you get. It's like an attempt at React before we had React, where it's like if we name our HTML elements, it'll be much clearer HTML. But we sort of just like ran right past that into like JSX, and we'll just define them like that. Now they're classes. But it was like that weird couple years in the late 2000s.
I feel like it's
Or
also
Semantic Web.
Yeah, Semantic Web. That's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of related to that. But the problem is, if you read the definitions of what each of those elements are used for, they like overlap. They're not mutually exclusive. Like it's like it seemed like someone got like halfway through an idea and then abandoned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing they're still really useful for is like scraping. It's really nice to be able to like take a page and do something without having to render the JavaScript.
But are you sure that everybody uses them the same way, right?
Not really, but it's like you get to like Google or Apple will say like, if you do it this way, we'll parse it out for you in the same way that like meta tag stuff is happening. So it's at least like a nice non-JS way to structure data. But I'm stretching because like I never use it.
The kind of case that the sort of litmus test that I think of is Safari reader mode. Firefox also has reader mode, but fantastic browser feature actually. I think it's actually a major disadvantage of Chrome that it doesn't have that. At least not that
It's weird, right? Yeah, why doesn't it?
Reader mode is fantastic. But reader mode in Safari is magically able to detect the main content in a page.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the sites that I'm reading are religious about using the main or article tags correctly, right?
No, it's doing something else too that is really, really clever.
Yeah.
Yep. I have witnessed and definitely been impressed by that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to put these at the top because the bottom of the screen is confusing. And you're not going to render. Maybe I put them below the canvas.
I think they need a Z value. If you want to superimpose them, you might need to position them absolutely.
Cool.
Or
there's them all.
Yeah, or even fixed in this case. We're not going to scroll, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems great. I think they actually are still hanging out down there. Cool. Is there a CSS file in here?
Yes, there is. Oh no, wait, that's generated from. Where's the CSS file coming from? I think it's an import in the TypeScript file. Like if you go to the camera.ts or main.ts and you scroll to the top, we are importing.
That's cool.
That's just an ES That's just an ES build thing. But you should be able to import a custom CSS file in the same exact way.
Totally. I mean, I was gonna say I just noticed that there's a bunch of styles here. And I'm just
yeah. That's kind of where I was doing all the manual stuff. This is my first time ever using CSS Grid.
Oh man, I do not understand CSS Grid.
I feel the same way, and I wrote that.
All right.
See, that was a boss web developer thing right there. You knew exactly what you were doing.
Oh yeah.
Wait, how did these inputs know that they're part of the same radio? Is it the ID?
They share the same name. Yeah.
Yes.
So ID maps to 4, which is how clicking on the text picks the radio button since they're labels.
Yeah.
And then name is the key. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Maybe I should have done this in React because now you have to do an on change or a change detection thing. Yeah.
You got jQuery in here? No, it's okay.
Well, the TypeScript file should be able to do it, right? We just can like
Yeah.
Listen
That's
for.
fine. I actually really like writing just normal JavaScript.
Yeah. Honestly, React would not help us very much here because eventually the React would make a function call, like it would make a function call into the renderer, and so it would basically look like exactly what we're about to do now, but worse.
Yep. Model controls is get element by ID. And I think for radio buttons, get element by ID they all have different IDs. JS, radio button.
Is there a selected event that will bubble up to the div above?
That's a good question. That sounds promising. So if we get element by selector controls, or honestly, I could just.
Yeah.
And then model controls dot add event listener on change.
Would it just be change? The event name?
I think, yep. Is on change just the React version of that?
On change, yeah, it would be the attribute. But I think there are some functions on maybe model controls maybe might have an on change function that is basically a shorthand for the add event listener change.
Good call on the bubbling, by the way.
It worked.
Yeah, I always forget that works. That's delightful.
That's pure guess. It's always 50-50 in this world, HTML.
Yeah, it did bubble. Where's the value? Oh, I wonder if there's a JS radio button event. There might be like a selected.
Either that or the second argument is the object that it got acted on or something like that.
Oh, yeah, might as well look for two. Wow. That is something I have no knowledge of. Looks like there's no second argument.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Now it's actually just like extremely unhappy with me. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry, it's still selected. That event was just not real. Let me look for a second one here before I give up on that. Yeah, still nothing, but I think that like
what's this bound to when we call just e.target. Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it. Oh, and this is undefined.
Okay.
Know this. Interesting. Right. E.target is the input.
Target dot
value probably.
Data.
Yikes. I really like. Man, I feel like these used to come with the actual result in here. There we go. That'll do.
Yeah. Maybe exclamation point on the end of line 48.
Yep. I mean, I guess like that's actually fine. Oh gosh, you're really gonna make me do this for all of them, huh? It definitely does. Yeah.
That's weird.
I will ignore that one. Event target. Maybe if this is actually a on change event. Nope, that's fine. We'll just leave that TypeScript there for a second. And then let's see, let's add sort of, I guess just a global, these are shader options, render options, and then render v2s down here.
I wonder if
So I guess
change
it's-
is too ambiguous. I don't know what it would be, but change is like if you typed something in.
Yeah, I know like some things have change text, and there's there's more specific ones. Events. Events are change in input. Oh, input's interesting. That's really hard to Google for on this page.
I've never heard of this event.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, change is what we want, I think.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like e.target.value on a change event is, I think, pretty normal.
What does it say that the target is?
Oh, what does this think the target is? An event target.
And then if we go to the type definition of that in TypeScript, what does that say? Is there a way to get in there? No.
This is this should be standard library.
Oops,
shit. Did you see it?
Yeah, add event listener. Yeah, HTML element, and then
event listener or event listener object. It's an event listener. It's an event. And then it just needs me to click twice.
If you hover over the E, the argument to your lambda, what does it say it is?
That's an event.
It's just a vanilla event.
Yeah.
And event does have a target.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe it assumes that targets don't have.
The targets are just DOM interfaces. That's so strange. Let's see. Add event listener, event target, TypeScript. Because
maybe like, you have to do an as or something like that.
Yeah. Event target doesn't inherit from element because not all event targets are elements. I could certainly make it an element.
Yep. Maybe even an input element.
Yeah, that sounds good.
HTML element?
It says input event something that's useful here, actually. No, maybe HTML element. Input element.
Yeah, there you go. That's
dumb.
You just kneecapped that line of code, but in a good way.
Woof, indeed. Okay, so let's see. Our render mode is going to be wireframe. And this is going to be, well, honestly, it's just going to be, no, I'm going to do the whole thing.
All right.
Wireframe or solid or game.
Yeah.
And then render mode equals value.
It's going to have to be an as one of those three things. So you can do a type that is equal to that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. No, that's fine. That's totally.
Not let, but type, I think.
Oh, yep. I guess I really don't need the word type on here, though it's clearer. Okay, that's fine. It is assigned a value, but never used.
Yeah.
All right, and then down here, if render mode. Oh, you know what? This is a great switch statement. Mode. Is that JavaScript? Yeah.
Yep.
Case solid and case game. I really wish, and I don't know why, but I have this in every editor. It never seems to figure out the nesting for case statements.
Really? Shouldn't our prettifier be figuring it out? That's weird.
I guess, but like, oh, see, I'm just really good at saying the thing it's not going to do before it does it.
Yeah, it's cool.
No, it's a special skill. All right. Okay.
And then
Well,
if we select
that's
game,
happening.
nothing should draw, right? Yeah.
Nothing.
Nice.
And I guess let's at least start with this checked.
And then maybe the colon on we can get rid of on all three of the labels.
Yeah, that's silly. I guess I originally had them as buttons that might toggle individual chunks on and off.
Makes sense.
Cool.
And
if I rotate this,
yeah,
it's actually gonna like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. Can we make it the same color perhaps? The magenta gives me weird feelings that I feel
like you having actually worked on a game, you've got the visceral reaction to like magenta as someone busted something.
I don't know. I think it's actually a little bit more primal than that.
That's so interesting too. The outside of this barrel is, we're like rendering the inner barrel only. Huh.
That is interesting. Now, if we did game mode, probably the easy way for us to do it for right now.
I can certainly just pop them one after the other, but
and then we change the color to like the background color, I think, for the tank.
Okay.
Whatever the background color is.
What is our clear? Sorry, I gotta move the heads. Do we clear?
It might be.
Also, is this? I think that got imported incorrectly.
Yeah, we do clear.
Oh, you know what clears though? It's this, but that's not the clear color.
The clear color is transparent, and then what's maybe showing through is the default HTML gray background. Wait, is that true?
That's not transparent. That's black.
Weird.
Yeah. What?
I agree with you. Wait, when are we clearing it? Is that not clearing at all? How does this even work?
Oh, fuck. It's always the right question. I'm
Wait,
gonna look in the camera real quick.
I wonder if this is like a request animation frame thing. Like, does it automatically clear?
Possibly. What is recompile doing? Because you're recompiling every frame, right? Are we rebuilding a context from scratch?
We're not recompiling every frame. We're recompiling when there's changes to either shader. But yeah, there should be a clear in there.
Sure looks that way, huh?
Yeah. What are we doing in the game? It would be in the render manager, I think. Oh yeah, we just.
Well, this isn't called here though.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe
like right
if we just
set world
explicitly
view transform.
Yeah, we just explicitly call that, and it's gonna set it to black. I'm guessing.
I think that's right. Cool. We just forgot to clear this sucker.
Yeah, and I think request animation frame is somehow doing the clear for us. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah. You know what I bet was saying that background color is?
Oh, line 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want this? Do you want your editor to be in dark mode now?
I don't really care.
Okay.
But we want to set the text color to something different then.
Yeah, totally. Well, we sure look cyber as heck here.
Yeah. And then game mode.
Interestingly, did not do what I expected.
Yeah, I actually thought this is what should have happened before. I'm surprised we were seeing the wireframe draw on top of the on top of the tank, because like if you reverse the order of those draw calls, I think it might. Oh, it's because the wireframe is the same color as the tank. So what we actually want to do is set the tank color to 0. Yeah, exactly.
Forgot we changed that color.
Yeah. So this is what the game.
Oh, that's badass.
Pretty dope, right? Yeah.
That looks really, really good. I'm actually going to make this. Oops. Get a little more Chrome view in here. Looks really good. Boy, it's hard to see though.
Yeah, it's hard to see. We could increase the brightness of the color. It could be closer to, because the contrast is low right now. Do like 0.7 or something.
Yeah, I think that's good.
These are where thicker lines would help, right?
I was going to say, I think we're kind of feeling the pain of line width not being real. Oh, that's a cool looking tank though, man. So if I did this to turret, dude, even that looks cool. Whatever.
Ship it.
I'd ship it. Yeah. That looks cyberpunk.
You could do a model selector, same thing that you just did.
Oh, that's a good idea. I was going to change game to the default mode because it's actually what I want to see.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to come up with a name for this. That was weird.
It's not.
Set the default. You need to set the default.
Yeah, exactly. Render mode. We're going to have to come up with a name for
this style of rendering. That's just not the game render.
That's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
So given this, we could add a model selector. What if we tried to apply Steve shading to this using our algorithm? Is that bonkers?
It is not, no.
Because I am curious. Yeah, we can improve our edge detection, but I'm super curious if we could actually get thicker lines drawing.
Yep.
Cool. And lo and behold, we can use the Rendertoy. This doesn't persist. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I will remember that.
Oh yeah, that'll be a little bit painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, to persist it, we'd actually have to modify the actual shader because it's just loading the shader text in there.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So for Steve shading, we need to add an attribute to our.
Yeah.
To our what do we call it? There was data to the data mesh, and then also to the render mesh.
To both. I was thinking that we use the data mesh to add it to the render mesh, but we probably can't. Adding to the data mesh would mean doing something in Blender.
I think it's more that like. Well, where does the data mesh actually get read again?
Only in.
Oh, it's in that load Gltf function, right?
Yeah, it's just data. Yeah, it's just here. It's just we grab it from model root nodes, and then render root nodes gets something.
Yeah. So it's kind of six of one, half dozen of the other. Like I think whether or not we want to add the attribute, I think should be an option. Eventually, should be just be an option that the decision that the game makes rather than something that like the render infrastructure makes, which would eventually the interface for this is that we wouldn't have load GLTF on render 3D. This load GLTF would be like a render manager thing. Like it'd be like a game domain logic kind of thing. And what the renderer would take is data meshes, and the renderer would just convert the data meshes into render meshes, right? Which would mean that if we wanted to do augmentation of the data, we'd add the attribute to both types. But right now, because everything's kind of flattened.
I see what you're saying though. I really like that notion of, we hand it the JSON data and it just writes into GL buffers, and that's like the renderer domain. That makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah, and this is me being like a get the fuck off my grass like engine guy, you know, like just like the intransigent backend developers that you work with that refuse to like extend the API because it's not clean. That's this side of me that's like talking right now, where it's again just like punt it over the fence. I want all the complexity to be outside the thing that I'm making.
Totally. Okay, yeah. So that makes sense. What we've done is really just we've modified render meshes only, but yeah, we could very easily write this to the data mesh as well, because really it is just Oh shit. Okay, so to add, how do we go about adding an attribute to our GLTF format?
GLTF, we wouldn't add it to the GLTF format. We would take whatever the output of the GLTF format is, because ultimately what we care about is the data mesh, right? And the data mesh, what did it look like again? I think it's just
common. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, basically, we just add to the triangle mesh another attribute buffer that is called. We can't call it the Steve attribute, but
the foot shader. No.
Again, like I think we need to like.
It's like edge.
Yeah, it is the it's the edge edge proximity attribute. I mean, we can call it just the edge attribute. Yeah.
I want to say something like edge on or something, but
edge on
is quite
great.
Right.
Edge on is great. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, now that is part of triangles, I guess. Sweet. And that's great, actually. Nothing is really requiring this. No, wait, we probably have a bunch of TypeScript problems. No, all right.
No, I think it's well, the fact that it's not being initialized wherever we're creating it should be a complaint somewhere. We probably haven't opened that file yet, right?
Yeah, that's fair. But that's okay. I'm happy to solve that later. So let's see. So this is annotated under node. This is get triangle mesh with edges.
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to be a new processor that I think looks a lot like the line mesh processor, but I'm going to start a new one. Triangle with edge.
I mean, we could just call it the edge on processor, right? Because I think it's understood that the source is a triangle, the same way the line mesh processor is the same way, right?
That's fair. I was thinking that since the line says like the line is part of the output, get GL edge on mesh. But yeah, I'm with you. All right, and then nope, that one. Okay.
So this is going to be a harder transformation than the line one is, just to prepare your.
Yep. Property edge on is missing. So yeah, triangles do need that actually, but that's great. I guess honestly, this should probably just be an optional.
It should be an optional. I agree.
Cool. Okay. Great. Get edge on mesh. So yeah, the try to line stuff definitely comes out totally different Though, I guess actually, so let's see. This whole thing is the same as the input, like same triangles.
So I don't think it's going to be the same.
I don't think it's going to be the same indices?
Okay.
I
don't, because the indices are the way they are right now because, like, if we didn't have normals, we'd have even fewer indices, right? Like, if we didn't have normals, if the normals were all exactly the same value, we'd have fewer indices, and that's because the normals vary even though the positions are the same. And so there's a similar expansion of the number of indices that we have to have when we add yet another attribute that is not necessarily shared by vertexes that share the same position in normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
This is the hard computer science problem that we were talking about with Steve. Like, can you optimize it in such a way where you retain the same number of unique vertices, but somehow order the edge on attribute in a specific way that, and I think generically it's not actually possible. I think you can I think you can pretty trivially come up with examples that contradict that. I actually had thought of an example, but I can't think of it now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I definitely.
But conceptually, do you see what I'm getting at?
I see the problem. Yeah, that's really tricky. So basically, we need to like potentially like flatten out positions, normals, and indices all the way to be able to do this correctly.
I think the index buffer for this mesh will be literally it'll be the size of the number of triangles we have times 3, right? It'll literally just be like one unique vertex per actual triangle vertex.
Okay.
Which is actually, I think Steve had mentioned, like, that's not great, but at the same time, you're probably not going to have a ton of triangles in this aesthetic, like the models that you're going to be rendering. So, like, we get our savings because the content is simple and not because the data format is optimized, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there are more triangles in this whole tank than will probably be in our game at the end of the day.
You might be right.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Gosh, okay, that's really interesting though.
Yeah.
So we need to actually iterate through indices and build a new index buffer and a new position buffer, because we're going to duplicate positions now so that we can put different edge-on properties on different vertex indices.
That is right.
Yeah, yes. We're going to expand the data. So actually, yeah, the index buffer is going to be the same length. The position and normal buffers are going to grow with duplicate data.
Right.
Because we can't add more indices. We have all our points.
Yeah.
But we are going to deduplicate. Okay.
Now, that problem, I think, is problem number 2. Problem number 1 is what's the equivalent of our try mesh to line mesh function for this? Like, I think we can still use the original. You can take advantage of the fact that, like, at least for the tank mesh, it's mostly optimized, right? Like, unlike the turret one, for some reason, I think they were using different vertex indices for the same logical vertex, and which is why we're getting the common diagonals.
Yeah, I was going to try to apply this algorithm
exactly. So
as neatly as possible.
So I guess the question is, what do we emit? What's the return value of this function?
Right. And to these tabs to revisit sort of. Can I really not just pull out a new window? Oh well, to revisit Steve shading. It's going to be for like a triangle. Actually, do you want to pull up Miro? Do you have your iPad handy?
Yeah, I do.
Or actually, I bet if I go to Miro, it's there.
I thought of a way of explaining Steve shading without the multiplication. Although the multiplication is really
cool.
graceful. Yeah.
The multiplication is really graceful.
Yeah. Or elegant and graceful.
Miro, I log into you like once a week. You can stop. Stop.
You know what actually gives like a ton of marketing crap now? Oh shoot, I moved something by accident. Firefox. Firefox wants me to like install their mobile app. And it's like emailed me 3 or 4 times.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mozilla.
Yeah.
Do you trust them anymore? Do you feel like we can actually like rely on them? I'm not sure I do.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think Steve shading is yeah, that's Steve shading, I think. This one.
I'm just trying to get this pink highlight off of everything, and it's always more annoying than I want it to be.
Oh, I didn't know. It's so cool. Why would you want to get rid of it?
All right, that's our aesthetic. It's magenta, man. I'm just seeing the magenta.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So for edge A and C to be on, our attributes are, for every vertex we're describing A, B, C, which edges are on.
Yeah.
And for this vertex, 2 edges are on. For this vertex, 1 edge is on. For this vertex, 1 edge is on. Yeah.
So I think the way that we explain Steve shading is, first of all, we assign an edge to each attribute component. So the X component, it's a three-dimensional attribute, and the components are X, Y, and Z. And then we designate one edge X, one edge Y, and one edge Z. And for the vertices that are on edge X, set the X value to 1. For the if X is actually on. And then go to the next edge that's on, let's say it's Y, and for the vertices that are bordering edge Y, set the Y value to 1. And let's say Z is not on, for the vertices that are bordering Z, just leave it at 0, right? So basically everything starts at 0, and then find the edges that are on, and then whatever component of the attribute that is, find the vertices that edge is bounded by, and then set that component to 1. That's basically Steve shading in a nutshell, or the Steve attribute, the edge on it.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. And let's see. So going through this, we're actually going through for every triangle and building these line segments as well, which is really helpful. Like we are looking at it in segment pairs, right? Yeah.
That is great. What is line indices actually? It's basically the edges that are on, right?
We're pushing, we're for every time we get into
this is perfect. This is exactly what we need. I was like,
I
was thinking
to
myself,
it's like I thought we did the algorithm already, right? Yeah.
I was like, what's the return value got to be? Do we need to change it? And it turns out that we don't. I was basically going to say, let's return a bunch of 2 tuples of line indices, and we could improve this by making it like an array of tuples, like array of like 2 points. But I think what we've got right now is fine, as long as we assume that every two indices are an edge that's on.
Oh, because we can take 2 indices, pick the first 3 off. Wait a minute. What if all 3 are on? Is that possible?
Yes. All three on is possible, because if you just have like a triangle, but then like the geometry is not coplanar with the edges, or that triangle, then all 3 of those edges will be on.
Now, do we need to push? So we're pushing values here of index to index that's on.
Yep.
Do we need to push zeros when it's not on? No, probably not. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to get this to the triangle on the other side, because this is a useful list for sure.
So I thought of a problem.
Yeah.
Oh no, it might not be a problem.
I mean, Doesn't the output of this needs to be like for each triangle, we need to return 9 values?
Yeah, we could do all that work here. That's fine. Like the other thing we could do is like compress this into
like edge notation, basically. Like doing the multiplication out, it would essentially be returning the edge set, which is this middle blue number.
Okay, so like let's assume that we kept this function the same way that it is right now.
Okay.
I'm not like we may actually end up needing to modify. I'm just trying to think through whether or not like where do we put the logic to actually break this out into attributes. I mean, technically, this information we're gonna need it at some point. Like this logic is all totally sound, right? It's basically telling us like which lines we would want. But in order for us to actually emit attributes for every single index or every single vertex, rather, because remember we're gonna have more vertices than we have indices in the new mesh that we're gonna create, right?
Right.
We do have to iterate over every triangle. And then we have to iterate over every edge in the triangle. And what iterating over the edges of that triangle are basically iterating over, it's like, we're going to be going through the index buffer and we have like 3 indices. And those, like each of those indices is actually like, the 3 edges are like index 0 to index 1, index 1 to index 2, and then index 2 to index 0.
Yep. Yeah,
and then
exactly.
we take each of those tuples and see if they're contained inside line 54, that line indices that we return. And if it's in there, then we know that the edge is on. And if it's not in there, then we know that the edge is off. So the question is that like, can we pack that iteration over triangles into this function, or should we do it outside of this function?
I get what you're saying. Outside is maybe nice because I like that this is actually a shared function right now, and we can sort of treat this as the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. As I'm talking out loud, the thing is like we are iterating over triangles in line 24 to line 35. So you could say, oh, maybe we could, but we have to do that. That's a pre-pass, right? Because if we don't do that pre-pass first, we can't do lines 37 to lines 52. So we have to do another iteration over the triangles after lines 37 to line 52. So why not move them out of this function rather than keep it inside the function? Like keep this function simple, right?
Especially since we're doing it anyway, yeah. I think this maybe gets better if we push the tuple.
I agree. I think, or it could even be a set. Does that?
Push a set, like an actual JS set object?
If that works. I'm not sure if that works.
Can we do a quality on that or lookup? That's what I'm not sure of.
I think we might need to, if we can pop into like like a node console or something like that, we can test it out real quick.
Okay, yeah. Let's get that up here.
If we can't, then I would actually suggest serializing it to a string.
Okay, doing like, right, because then we can search. It's actually easier to look up these,
This kind of thing is always like the horrible parts of JavaScript where it's like, it's almost there, but not quite. Do you know what I mean? And then you end up doing this gnarly stuff like serializing things to strings.
What am I trying to do here? Actually, I want to say y dot remove one. No, delete.
Delete one, yeah. But I think what we're going to try to do is to add an array of like 1 and 2, something like that.
Oh, I was going to try to put these in an array and look up by value. Maybe I'm doing a different thing. Oh my gosh, this console is really annoying. Because I was curious if we're returning a set here, how do we find it again? That was my question. Maybe that's a less useful question.
Well, walk me through that. Just so I'm following.
So you were suggesting that on list indices, we push like a new set of that.
I was suggesting that list line indices itself was the set.
Oh, okay.
Because we're trying to check, like when we iterate over the triangles again, we're going to try to check for membership inside the edges that are on, right? Basically, line indices is actually an edges on, right? That's actually what it will be. And I don't know if you can have a set that's an array like that, a set of arrays like that. I know array equality doesn't work in Node.js, right? If you do like angle bracket 1 comma 1 close angle bracket equals the same value, it's false, I think. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with the set.
Yep. Okay, cool. That is a great. So if we do z.add of 1, 2, and run it again, that's unfortunately not a set anymore.
Okay.
That sucks.
So what if we serialize the string? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go into the set of.
I don't love it.
I know.
This is like almost a class, right? Maybe like an edge set is a class so that we can at least deal with arguments that are tuples.
I can see that, but I honestly don't hate this format.
Okay,
like
that's fine. You're right.
It's slightly more to get into later.
Yeah. Okay.
This is probably the JavaScript programming where I'm just like, oh yeah, serialize this value into a shitty string format. Yeah. Gotcha. Solves all my problems. Cool. I like this a lot, actually.
Okay, great.
All right, now it's happy with that.
And then,
so this is actually, edge on. These names are wild.
Like, find edges on. Find AirPods Pro. Find Whoppers Junior.
Oh my gosh. See, they should have given you the AirPods Max. That would have been really the primo prize.
I'm a little bit surprised that you don't have a pair sitting on your ears right now.
They're heavy.
They're super heavy. Isn't it like a pound?
AirPods Max in pounds. It's surely not 2 pounds of.
That's like the box, right? That's got to be the box.
That's got to be the box.
Graham. I thought it was like 13.
But how many pounds is that grams? Oh, okay, 13 ounces. Yeah, that's under a pound.
That's nearly a pound. It's under a pound, yes, but it is almost a pound. I think they're like 8.
These are 8. Yeah.
So
I don't want 5 more ounces on my head.
Exactly. You're talking about like basically another pair of these things on your head. And I heard that they accumulate moisture. I think it's something to do with the metal. Like there's condensation that it accumulates. Something about it's magnets, man. How do they work?
They built the fanciest thing they could and somehow managed to like add a gross feature. Like, sorry, your headphones just get wet now. Just deal with it. You're wearing them wrong. Oh fuck. Okay.
I heard that the new MacBooks are gonna have MagSafe and USB Type A ports again.
Type A? That is honestly the biggest surprise to me.
You kind of need them though, right? Like,
I do frequently need like one, and that would be okay.
Yeah, if they added one Type A port, would you be upset? To a MacBook Pro?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't really know why I'd want MagSafe anymore, though. I really like being able to plug my computer in on either side. I say having the computer with plugs on one side, but like
that is true.
It was nice.
Yes,
it was cool.
But MagSafe on your iPod Air or your iPad Air. I mean, the thing is like the thing that MagSafe. The problem with it is that it took up that little inch of space, right? Mm-hmm. Which is not true of like your USB-C port can be used to charge or it can be used to do anything else, and that's
right. Yeah,
that's the trade-off.
And like both sides are the same. It's really nice.
Yeah.
One USB-A would be cool. I'm kind of hoping MagSafe is like a thing that lives on the excuse me.
It lives like on the jack. Sorry, on the cable rather than on the. I guess it has to be on both, right? It has to be on both.
I was thinking even like centered on the back, or like it connects to the bottom of the laptop in a way where like you just don't think about it taking up a port. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it on my phone. Like I have a MagSafe stand and I could just pop my phone on it and it charges perfectly and it's really nice.
So what I'd heard, and this is like 9 to 5 Mac or MacRumors.com level stuff, right? But it's like
They usually get their shit right.
their MagSafe coming back, Type A ports, and then they're getting rid of the touch bar.
Not gonna miss it.
No, I don't think I don't. They must have like secret phone home telemetry on the touch bar, and it's probably been like a flat line since it came out already 3 or 4 years ago, right?
It's when I think they definitely know the number of apps that ship touch bar compatibility because they
Yeah.
use an entitlement for that. So like that goes through their servers too. I am very happy you got the Air, right? I love these physical buttons again.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be able to touch the volume control and sort of know where it is.
Yeah, I mean, to be totally honest, I haven't really used it in laptop form that much. It's sitting in my vertical stand.
That's the other problem with the touch bar is that I can never use it.
Yeah. Pandemic mode, man. Maybe that's what happened is the pandemic really kind of accelerated the, like, we're just going to use our laptops as with a monitor kind of thing. And just like the touch bar went out of style completely.
Yeah. Or like, professionals, like I usually had my laptop on a stand or in a closed shell plugged into a monitor when I did my job too. It just it was not the pro feature they thought it would be.
I think it was actually a desperate misstep. Like I don't know, like just like the lack of precision that has. It's kind of fiddly, and you can only press it from a certain angle. It's not like a giant screen. Like,
No, but I've heard that they're considering doing like screens in keycaps, which is a great idea, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great.
A dynamic keycap, fucking brilliant. Like it's exactly what I want the touch bar to be. You could also put a screen in the touchpad, and that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, there is a whole there is a mixed. You need controls that are haptic or tactile, but are also variable based on software. And the big thing that I really want is like a music control surface that has that, because it's really nice to have tactile music controls like faders and knobs and stuff like that. But then you also want different software to be able to reassign what it is, and to actually have a screen there would be fucking amazing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And you could do
that sounds very futuristic.
Yeah, you could do the kind of knobs that are there are knobs that just infinitely turn, right? They don't have stops. And their positions are tracked by software. So you could even switch instruments or whatever, and the knob positions would get reset to 0 or wherever their default positions are based on what software.
That's interesting.
And that's really cool, right? Yeah. And it would still be tactile, and you could even have, since it has a little screen or something on it, you could even label it to basically, and you could also flash it when you want somebody to when that control's active. There's all kinds of cool interface things you could do with that thing, that type of thing.
Yeah. My hypothesis is, screens and keycaps is going to be touch bar 2.0 or something. Because I think they wanted to get to the thing you're talking about, where it's a dynamic tactile interface, but did totally whiff on it.
Yeah. Do you know the Steam controller?
Oh yeah, with the weird thumb things.
Yeah. They're basically touchpads, right? But they apparently did something with the haptics that made it so it. Oh, you know what it is? I don't think so. I think the actual surface of it just has little nubbins on it, but they're basically touch screens, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I recalled the notion that this was sort of like a thumbstick, but inverted and felt really good.
Yeah, right.
It's like a thumbstick you can also scroll, which is really clever.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah, I think people, at least when it first came out, were excited about it. I don't know what the actual track record of it is. Maybe people just couldn't get used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Boy, Space Invaders or Galaga. That's a great way to sell your controller.
Hey, give me the City Skylines action, man.
Is that what that is? Is that City Skylines?
That's totally what that is.
That looks so SimCity. I thought City Skyline was more realistic than that.
It's pretty SimCity, but
Oh, okay.
a realistic one.
Okay.
Yeah. But I guess, oh yeah, I see. They're trying to talk about mouse controls because it's meant to be a mouse replacement too.
It's
That's
pretty
pretty cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were trying to deal with the FPS issue because, like, I'm playing Red Dead Online right now on a controller because that's just on a PC. Like, I don't know what kind of, like, what class of de-evolved troglodyte I am, but, like, I'm basically using a controller on a PC just because it's hard
I
otherwise
think
for me.
everyone does that now. Controllers are just great.
Well, not for shooters, right? Everyone wants to use mouse and keyboard for the accuracy, but
Yeah.
I will say that trying to aim with my controller in Red Dead Online in particular is super painful.
Is Red Dead shooter?
It is. It's like a duck and cover. Shooter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta be able to pop up and snap a shot.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
I actually learned. I've been playing the game for like 15 hours now, and I learned that you could cover last night. The UI in that game might be the worst UI I've ever experienced in my life. Like, there's no indication. And it was funny. Like, the classic Red Dead Online story was, Jason, my brother-in-law, he was playing with us. He's getting really into it. I love it. He's got a game
Nice.
now. But like, he was telling me like how he tried to get onto his horse, but he hit the wrong button and he punched his horse instead, and his horse kicked him. So like the game, they built enough into the game so that like the horse would realistically respond to stimuli.
Mhm.
But they didn't build enough into like the basic UI of the game that you could like avoid punching your horse by accident. That's like in a nutshell exactly what Red Dead Online is.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's an allegory for the entire game.
Yeah, I remember being very frustrated with Red Dead Offline.
Yes.
It's just hard to play. It wasn't fun enough for how hard it was, even though I'm sure it was a delightfully realistic Grand Theft
I think last time we
wilderness.
talked about this on stream, I was like, oh, I didn't play Red Dead 1 because at like 10, 20 hours into it, I kept falling through the ground. And then, like, literally, I think it was Jason again, like a couple nights ago when we were playing. He's like, so do any of you guys fall through the ground in this game? And I just started laughing. Because, like, clearly they haven't solved the bug after 13 some years. You know what I mean?
That's so funny. Uh, love it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What was I doing? Oh yeah, we're gonna unroll our indices.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do a new position and normal.
Yeah.
Our indices actually stay the same. Nope, we're gonna rewrite them.
Yeah. But this is the master loop right here. This is the loop to rule them all, I think. We actually have a triangle iteration pattern, I think, in find edges on. Is that something we could borrow?
Let's see.
Line 24 is.
And then tries by vert. Oh, is this useful to us?
Or is it line? What's tries? Oh, you're right. It's probably not useful to us.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. We're doing. What are we looping over? Oh, what am I passing into here? We're passing in the index buffer.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I'm sorry. But
Okay.
I think iterating over the triangle indices, over the mesh indices by the number is good because we need to look at the two values that are after each one, right?
Okay. So do a yeah.
Classic C for loop. Love it.
Woohoo. Great. I forgot that these are actually, our buffers are just this real fun type. Move the heads, get to the edge on processor. So let's see, actually. So our new positions equals m.mesh dot positions, and then positions dot buffer is, I guess we're just going to write a new buffer for this.
Yeah, these are just arrays, right?
They are, but they have to be like they have to be the uint variety. So
Okay.
I guess
We do know how big it's going to be though ahead of time. So we can take advantage of that to create. Or you're right. You know what? Let's not worry about that. Let's use push and then let's freaking convert them later.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. Hinge on buffer.
What is the new normal, Dom? One day after the inauguration.
You know, I didn't find anything to like be upset politically about today. It was great.
Yeah.
It's shocking. I'm sure there was plenty, but like nothing really like raised my hackles.
Yeah. I had one of those let's say like proud to have Joe Biden in office moments, which I was like I had to like check myself. It was rough a little bit, but that's
yeah.
There was a shot of him talk. You know, I think it's memed now, but there's like a shot of him talking to like 4 60-inch TVs because there's like 1,000 people on Zoom that he's talking to at the same time.
That's so funny.
And he's talking to all of the leaders of various bureaucracies of the federal government, and he's basically saying, you know, like it's gonna be rough. I'm like proud to be working with all of you. And the only thing I can, like, you know, it's going to be a hard time and it's going to be really weird and uncertain. But the only thing I can say with absolute certitude is, like, the only thing I will demand from you with absolute certitude is for you to, like, conduct yourselves with honesty and decency. And I was like, fuck, that's such a contrast, you know?
Wait, you cut out right as you were saying the punchline.
Oh, he said, like, you know, like, the 2 things I'm going to ask for you with absolute certitude is to conduct yourselves with honesty and decency, you know? And I was like, nice. Wow, that is crazy. He's actually trying to govern, you know? And then I went back to being afraid that they weren't going to do enough about healthcare and climate change and student debt and punishing Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel like at least kind of give a shit. By the way, I've just been enjoying everything about this meme.
Yeah. We should probably talk about this. But what game is this? What is this? Skyrim?
This is the intro to Skyrim.
Okay,
I mean, this is our favorite classic.
Yeah.
The Bernie meme is really good.
I can't tell. Like, I obviously am a huge Bernie Sanders fan. So I always like look at these like fondly. Like, he's kind of like it's really funny but in a way that like makes me like him more. But I kind of wonder how like other people see it. Like, people who don't like him, do they just think it's funny in a negative way? You know what I mean?
I mean, like, he's kind of schlubby, but like
yeah, exactly.
Kind of in the way he seemed to give a shit about the weird, like, to me it feels like unmaterialistic in a nice way.
It's endearing.
In a way I appreciate.
Right? It's endearing. Yeah. But does this meme endear people to him, or does it perpetuate their dislike of him? Like I wonder.
That's a good question. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Okay, I'm gonna do the thing.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do the thing. Oh, we also need totally a new indices buffer.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is really funny. Or indices buffer. All right, that one's done.
That's not what it's going to be.
No, we're not going to just go.
That would be the equivalent to copying it, but we actually. Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. The maximum value in the meshes index buffer is less than its length. I'm sorry. Like, I was confused. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because we're about to put a new position for everything.
Yes.
And then this is.
The only thing we might want to do is move 3 indexes at a time in this loop, because we have to look at a full triangle's worth of data in each section of the loop.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So we're back to this pattern, which was actually pretty great. That's interesting. So we're gonna have to push. Yeah, we're gonna push 3 indices, 3 positions, 3 normals.
Yeah.
Do we have to look at? Because we need to look at all permutations in the edge on buffer. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna say.
That makes a lot of sense.
If I could uncomment it, it'd be great. Whoa, too many letter T's. No, thank you. All right, so we're gonna push. Can I push multiple?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, darn tootin'. Okay. And actually, so these are our indices, but we actually want this buffer indexed 3 times as well to get the indices into the other objects.
Yeah, we need to actually get the vertex ID for each of them.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Can we call it vertex A, vertex B, and vertex C?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
index describes what lowercase a, lowercase b, and lowercase c are, and then yes.
Oh,
okay.
and this is actually not.
That's all correct. Yeah, that looks good.
Is it? Sorry, this is actually
I plus 1, I plus 2.
Yeah. Was I wrong about the multiplying by 3? No, sorry, this is still that because we divided by 3 for the loop.
Yeah.
So this is still correct. Okay.
Yeah. The reason why it's called T before is it was the triangle, and it was like the number of the triangle that we're currently on, rather than.
Yeah. Let me go back to my not very frequently used friend rename symbol.
Hey man.
T is much better.
Hey man, you got to start sometime. It's a good gateway.
It's a
good gateway drug. Good gateway drug to itself. Because that's the only
trying.
Thing. Yeah.
Sure, it's a gateway drug to exactly one thing, but it's a really good thing.
Oh, you know what? I installed another story. I installed VS Code on the new laptop, and I was like reinstalling all the plugins, and I'm like, shoot, my hotkeys are different. And I didn't want to install Sublime Text because I wasn't sure if I needed it or not. Rest in peace.
End of an era. Wow.
And I was like, I gotta get my hotkeys though. And there's no way to actually there used to be a thing in VS Code where you could set it to the Sublime hotkeys, but now the option is actually just to copy your hotkeys from an existing Sublime install. So it was kind of like this chicken and the egg kind of situation. So I just remapped literally 2 things, which is that I remapped Command P to Command T.
That's I do this every time.
And then my go to symbol is Control R. So if I want to look up what a symbol is, it's go to definition. I'm sorry. I don't know what you use for that. I think it's like I think I don't. I think it's like F3 or something like that by default in VS Code, because it's that was what it was in Visual Studio. And it turns out that those are the only 2 hotkeys I ever needed to remap. So everything else is great.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah, Command T and Command P being switched it is downright criminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We're just gonna push all 3 positions. So this is really our duplication, right?
Yep, and the normals will be the same, alas.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
This tank can handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, this tank might not be able to handle it. We'll find out.
There was a period in my life where I was really into compressing code as tightly as possible, and I would use for loops for everything that you just did, even though there's only 3 steps in the for loop. That was a phase of my life for sure.
Now, if I called push 3 times, I'd be with you, but this is one function call. You can't compress it more than that.
Yeah.
But you probably could.
Yeah. Even if we called push 3 times, I would still write them all out, right? I think if I like know the number, it's a fixed number and it's not more than 100, I would literally paste it all out now. That's kind of like that's the swing of the pendulum I'm currently on.
At some point, someone was like, "What are you trying to save bytes?" And I was like, "I don't know. Am I?"
Yeah. I think it's because I'm aware at runtime that the loop is not free, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
But the compiler will unroll it, so there's always like the galaxy brain to the big brain thought, right?
Well, if we were to change the number of its triangles, we can't add more vertices to the triangle.
Yeah.
Like I say, perhaps this could grow and you want to parameterize it, but
yeah,
unlikely. Okay, so let's see. So now we've got our edge on attribute, which is our like 1-2 string. What does this buffer look like? It's actually for every. Wait, what's in the positions buffer, by the way? What am I pushing here? Do I need to push 3 times?
Oh, maybe. You're right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, okay.
Or it could be one push that is. So maybe we're getting into for loop territory.
I was saying we just talked me into it.
Yeah. Okay, so you're absolutely right. Basically every vertex ID needs to be multiplied by 3. Right? You feeling me here?
We need to do vertex A plus 1 and vertex A plus 2, right?
Oh yes.
Am I back?
Hey, yeah. Yes, you are back.
So if I think what we're going to do is do
for each vertex A.
Yeah. Vertex C. Dot each. No, I got to do a for each, huh?
For of.
There we go.
Okay, that'll work too. Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense to me now. Vert. And vert plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2. And what are you unhappy about? Let's.
Do we need to multiply vert times 3?
No, because we've already indexed. These are our vertex A is the. I mean, gosh, I don't know. That's a great question.
It is because like the vertex buffer, or the indices buffer has 1 value per vertex, but the position and roles buffer has 3 values per vertex, right?
I think you're totally right, aren't you? Yeah.
So that's okay. I mean, it's okay. I think it's just like on line 93, it just needs to look like line 82. So rather than being vert, it's 3 times vert plus 0, 3 times vert plus 1, or something like that. Or you can do 3 times each of those. Yeah.
I was just gonna do vert equals vert times 3.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. And now this unhappy object has possibly been undefined this whole time, sucker.
What is it upset about? I'm so confused.
M.mesh? How? Haven't been in here this whole time?
It might be because we have a closure. Can we just do a for of loop? Is that okay?
For vert of, yeah. That is a very unexpected thing.
Yeah, it's like I wish I could explain that.
So then,
Wow. Const. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll say const vert. You just get to be V. Tomorrow, Dominic will look at that and have opinions.
Okay.
Tomorrow, Jeff might as well. Okay, great. There we go. All right, so that's right. So we've multiplied by 3 because we're going through the next buffer, and actually there are 3 points for each position and normal.
Yeah.
And that's great because now we can actually push. We're actually in a place to start applying our edge on stuff, right? Because if we do,
I don't know if we do it in the loop though, because we need to compare, like we need to do pairs of vertices. So you can't deal with vertices one at a time inside the body of this loop.
Oh, yep. Gotcha. So this is actually a pair of, and this is going to be like vertex A, vertex B.
Exactly, yeah.
Vertex B, vertex C, and vertex C, vertex A, with one more. Yeah. Where did it go? All right. So now we got that. And then we're going to do if edge on set dot has.
Yep, and then a string interpolation. And then what we could do is we can destructure pair on line 107 into like, I don't even use A and B, but like start and end or something like that. L and R, that works too. Yeah.
That's nice. Oops. So let's see. So
we do edges on. Oh, this is interesting.
How? Yeah. So
we need to know. We might not need. We might not want to do this in a for loop. This is going to be a little bit laborious, but otherwise we have to keep. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, hear me out. I think if we do this first, we can assemble, because what needs to happen is we need to check A against the two vertices A as a part of. Well, you're invisible. But then by the time we get back around to by the time we get back around to vertex A, here is where we can actually say like edge on buffer dot push, and then it's like value for vert. And so as we go through each of these, we're trying to assemble the 3 values for this, which like 1, 0, 0 gets pushed in here. So basically we build a mapping of A to, let's see. I think this is making sense. Vert edge set. Edges equals new set, and the set is a tuple of number. Does that make sense? We still need to, let's see. Fuck, I think we might have to run each of these just individually instead of doing a loop, because we kind of need to know whether it's A, B, or C instead of sort of this.
Yeah, you need, because we have to name the edges, right? The edges, and it's like, is it the X component, the Y component, Z component, and yeah, I think that was why I said like maybe we have to unroll the loop a little bit.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think that's totally right.
And then yeah, so like basically like line 94 would just be like we should push on the edge on buffer, right? Like edge on buffer dot push.
We need to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
We need to be able to build that whole value before we get there. That's the only problem. But actually, I guess since we're looking at the triangle, we can just do it, right? This is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. We have like we basically declare 3 attribute variables, right? That are 3 tuples that start off as 0, 0, 0, right? Like vertex A, edge on, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I feel it, man. This seems like a little silly.
I don't know. I actually think that. Were you just like looking at the source?
Near me.
Yeah. I agree with you that it feels like there's an optimization there. But if we write out the literal thing, it might appear to us.
Yeah, I agree. And the literal thing is actually like this is the entire code.
Yeah.
And so if we have AB, then vertex
A edge of 0 is equal to 1. And then the vertex edge on vertex B edge on of 0 is 1. Correct.
Oh, so really, like, and this is great. We're not.
There's no else's.
There's no else. It's just filling it in. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's right, because the opposite attribute is always 0.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And then, this doesn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
And this is edge B, so this is property 1.
Yep.
And this is edge C, and this is property 2. That's doable.
Not so bad, right?
Yeah. And then I guess we put these onto the edge on buffer in order, actually. Yeah, not going through the verts because that would actually be very hard. Yeah. Okay, I feel good about that.
And we can just put line 123 line 107. Oh yeah, or just move those things together. Perfect.
I was good since like the triangle stuff is pretty normal. I was just gonna let that happen. Yeah.
Looks pretty good.
Okay, and then here I was gonna do a bad thing. Oh, you know what? We got to recreate these because these totally have like
they need
component count.
Oh.
Well, actually, everything but component count. And so I was going to, let's do buffer is position buffer and component count is position buffer.length. Oh, and this is a new uint8 array? No.
I think it's gonna end up being float 32 because like the attribute is gonna be a float that's gonna get interpolated.
As I say, the positions and the normals should be float 32. Yeah.
Yeah. This is great.
Yeah,
boy,
this is
that's pretty good. Pretty good little feature, isn't it?
I love the ... I could not live without it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, TypeScript or JavaScript gets a lot wrong, but that ain't one of them. Buffer. So this is a new uint8 array.
Correct. uint16 array.
16. Okay. Indices buffer.
Well, I think you can technically use uint8, but we call it a GL short inside the render code.
Okay. I was going to say the component count doesn't change for this, but I might as well write it out for. I guess these all could have been indices buffer.length, and then our edge on. Finally, we've done it.
New. Yep.
Something new. You know, honestly, like all things considered, this wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. No. No. I was just telling too many random stories about how I hate Red Dead Online, but I'm still playing it. That was the real problem.
Yeah, it's the best thing is that like you're like
float 32, I think is this one.
For 010?
It's float because
because we want to interpolate it?
We want to interpolate it, yeah.
Okay.
The fact that it's a float will matter in the frag shader when we're trying to determine thickness. Like we want the value to be like close to 1, but maybe not 100%.
Gotcha. Okay. Buffer.length. Oh, and then this one we actually have to get the GL type is GL.float. And what's the last one? Oh, components per attribute is totally 3 again. Okay, what are we upset about?
I think you have to pass in you have to pass in GL as the second argument to that function of get GL buffer.
Oh, yep, brilliant.
Oh, dude, this might actually work.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's do it again. Run it once and close the stream.
Well, we have to write a new shader, I think.
We have to write a shader. I think we can actually do that pretty fast though, because I feel like I understand what the shader should be.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just gonna put this in. I'm gonna replace the wireframe. And I'm gonna comment that out. And we're gonna bring in our processor. And it's gonna be the edge on render node. And we'll do that. And all right. Did anything change? Is my shit running? Who knows? Oh, wait, this isn't even the right file. Where's my terminal? I think it worked. Ah, fuck. Oh, no, that makes sense because I changed what wireframe was.
Yeah.
And game mode renders that in black. Okay. Sure.
Okay. Since we're in Rendertoy, this will break the game, but we don't care about the game right now. Since we're in Rendertoy, we can just overwrite the shader, the regular shader for render v2. So there's a v2 shader. Oh yeah, or we could just Do
we need to assign the position attribute?
We do. Yeah.
Or sorry, the where's our normals?
When we load the shader, we need to if you go to v2.ts or we should add in the attributes array on line 36 the edge on. And then let's call that edge on line 9. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then we could probably add the frag. We can probably just like pass it through. We should pass it through.
Yeah. Edge on equals edge on. And then we'll get it as an in here.
Yeah. Boy, this whole thing is clumsy. Like there are ways of making this easier to work with. Sorry about this. Yeah.
We'll get there. So wait, so is this if I reload? Oh, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you were right in that like in the code itself, we need to make sure we bind the attribute, right?
Yeah, totally. Let's see. Right, I need to. Oh gosh, there's a lot of stuff to do for that in there.
What are we in right now? Load model. This is the wrong function, unfortunately. This is the
great.
This is the old one because we haven't
OBJ.
This is like pre-GL, the OBJ one, pre-GLTF.
Okay, so this is render mesh. That's it actually, is normal attrib.
Yeah, so let's just do every time we see the word normal in this function, we can add an edge on version.
Yep. Wait, am I in V1 again?
No.
Or is render mesh? No, render mesh is V2.
This is V2. Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, this normal attribute looked extremely similar.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Right, now here we go. Mesh.edge.
Did the render mesh not get that attribute?
It's in triangle mesh.
Oh, it is. Interesting.
What is interesting?
Okay. What TypeScript type errors are we looking at right now?
Oh, good. Nothing helpful.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly. I'm just gonna hinge on attrib. Actually gonna do this mesh dot. I'm super surprised about that, but
maybe if you highlight that, does it just say that the attribute doesn't exist anymore?
Does not exist on type line mesh. Why do we think we're in a line mesh? Maybe it's just that line mesh needs to have this optionality as well.
I don't think so. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's just throw that attribute onto the line mesh, and we know it doesn't work, but let's just have it in there. I think there's just like the factoring problem here. Yep. We need the line renderer to be a different function, basically, because the attributes are different between triangles and lines.
Yeah, which is new, but that's cool.
Not equals undefined.
Yeah, every time with that one, that's great.
It sucks. It sucks in the 3 seconds that you have to do it, but it's better the month.
It's much better.
Yeah.
Cool. And now we have a shader compiler.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take those.
Which, like, can I get? Didn't there used to be more?
I thought so.
Rerun that. Well, dang. So let's see. If I take edge on out, I expect this to actually pop back in. Oops.
It is the case that we don't use edge on in the fragment shader. You might be complaining about that.
That it's just unused.
It shouldn't really care, honestly.
It is a vec3.
Where does the word shader compiler pop out? Maybe we can get a little bit more information by just printing out more.
145. There's like no detail, just surprising. It's a vertex shader error. Oh, now you give me details? No, crap. I don't know. I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's basically like this dot.
Yeah, I'm just trying to log in that and see if I get. Yeah. Okay, great.
Oh, it's an uncaught error. That makes sense. Like, there's nothing catching it, so there's nothing printing out the actual properties of the error. So maybe the error that toString for that error class needs to be a little bit better. I thought we fixed that. Maybe we forgot to commit it or something like that.
Oh well. So let's see. 15 edge on undeclared identifier. That's because this needs to be an out. I bet that's the problem.
Yeah.
Cool. Indeed, it was.
Okay. Cool. And
take that out real quick.
Yeah. If we switch the default render mode back to solid, I think that's what we want. So that's good. This is what we wanted. So far, that's what the fragment shader is meant to do.
It sure looks like a tank. Yeah, in Rendertoy. Let's take it back to this for a second. I'm just gonna make this not black.
Yeah. Okay.
Because every time I reload the page, it's going. So, right, we've got this. I'm going to turn off light and the normal. What is our new frag color? It's actually, is this what we're using? Is this F width of?
Are we trying to draw the wireframe?
I was going to draw the wireframe, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what we would do is we would take, I believe the function called max. I think this is an if statement actually. So it would be like if max of edge on, and this is basically saying of the 3 components in that vector, what is the max value of that? If it is greater than, let's say, or if it's actually exactly equal to 1, let's just do the max equal to 1.
Okay.
Equals.
Is it single or double?
It's double.
Yeah.
It's just like C. If it's equal to 1, frag color is the color uniform. Otherwise, it's black. It's either black or like zeros on everything. Yeah. Well, we don't want it to draw through. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it should be.
Okay. Oh, cool. Now I'm getting like actual shader errors. Light undeclared. No. Max. No matching overload function found. Equals wrong operand types.
Let me try and look this up here. I just want to figure out what the
yeah, totally.
GLSL.
Do we need to include an extension for max to work? No. Maybe.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like there's no. Unfortunately, you can't. Max doesn't work that way. Max just takes 2 floats. So we just have to do a max of a max. We have to do max of edgeon.x and edgeon.y, and take the max of that and of edgeon.z.
Wait, max is interesting. Returns the larger of the 2 arguments. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It like
the second parameter where it's always a floating scalar is interesting. Okay. Yep, you're right. Just gotta do it 3 times.
Because otherwise it does it just component wise, right? Which I could see the use of, but.
So this is max of edge on and 0.
No. I think we can do max of edgeon.x and edgeon.y, and then put that in another call to max. Does that make sense?
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah, that's cool.
And then the second argument would be, yeah, you got it.
Yep. I haven't done this one in a while. And a right hand. Oh, and this should be 1.0. And then I have a syntax error. Great. Is my else wrong?
Semicolon on 13.
Semicolons. Yeah. Wisdom semicolons. Hello. All right.
I'm
gonna give this a very well. Hang on. We're gonna drop this uniform stuff. Can I do less than here? Or greater than? Start drawing thicker
One thing we could do is we could just set frag color to edge on and see what that looks like.
Ooh, I like what you're talking. Equals edge, or actually it's gonna be a vec full of edge on and 1.0. I hate that makes sense, but here I am.
Yeah.
Ooh. Are you seeing art? Oh, there we go.
Does that look completely solid to you?
It does, and it looks like it's like color didn't actually, it's upset that I'm not using the color uniform.
Okay. If you comment it out, it's gonna be a compiler error though. I think what we can do is we can frag color equals color, something stupid like that, and then just overwrite it again if it's complaining. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Wait, that's really, if I take this out, do we start working again?
Yeah.
Apparently, huh. Oh, I got an idea. Vec4 edge on and color dot A. Nothing.
I think edge on is probably all zeros for some reason. Maybe we have a logic error.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, I'm just gonna spit out this and then we can call it a night.
Okay.
Because I'm really just curious what we put in there.
Yeah.
It's not all zeros.
That is confusing.
Yeah.
But that
I'm also confused at how many times it seems to have output. What is all this?
Where was the console.log?
Oh, well, there's a good question. It should be outside. Yeah, it should be outside. Oh, you know what it is? It's that we do our nested mesh thing. There's just a bunch of nested meshes.
There's a bunch of meshes. Yeah. So maybe what it is that we're not binding it correctly, or we've confused component counts for element counts somewhere. When we first got into doing this, like loading GLTFs, remember we had to debug something and it like ended up being like,
oh yeah,
we put a 3 instead of a 1.
This is great because like we tank points and normals through the shader or through the process without destroying them. So this is cake. We can figure this out.
You have identified a very good positive, which is that we successfully like expanded all of the indices without breaking.
Yeah, most of our math is correct.
Yeah.
This maybe we got to sort out, but heck yeah.
Nice.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna admit this. This is good ass progress. You want to put this in a branch since it breaks the game?
That sounds reasonable. And then we can both take a look at it whenever we get to it.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it branch Steve shading.
Yeah.
Can't stop me.
Yeah, I literally can't. I think it's worth also. I think a reasonable refactor would be to get rid of the old OBJ renderer and start exporting all of our old stuff to GLTF. If anybody needs a brainless task, that's a good one to do.
I was gonna say it is super brainless just to pull this through Blender and do that. So heck yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I love it.
That was actually really good progress. I'm super curious what the actual bug is, but we will track it down shortly.
Yeah. So up ahead, we got to get the Steve shader working, and then there's probably going to be some fine tuning of that because we're not using screen space partial derivatives. I think that the lines are going to look a little bit funky, at least if we have objects that are different distances away from the camera. Right now, we actually don't have a demo that will actually probably draw that out too concretely. But if we started to have things that were like super close to the camera and also super far from the camera that are both in view, that's probably where we could see the issue. And then anti-aliasing would be an interesting thing to get in there, which is another thing that we never actually tried. So there's still things that we can do here. And then finally, we need to figure out what the hell's going on with our geometry, right? Like for some reason, we're missing pieces of the tank.
Yeah. I feel like maybe we can lean on the Blender tutorial too, but I'd love to make some simpler models and sort of like explore it in a space where we can actually like see all our normals and understand what's going on there.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet, dude.
Very cool. All right.
Well, happy Thursday. Enjoy the weekend. Have fun being a cowboy.
Thank you. All right. See you Twitch.
See you, Twitch.